Oh, that is.
Oh, we couldn't wait.
Good evening. Before we start the meeting, we'd like to take a moment to remember Ms. Ramberg. All right. We will call this meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, September 17th. The time is 7:04. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the roll reflect that Nate and Dave and Erica are in person, and Lance is calling in. Brad on the line?
Yep.
And Jeff Redmond
Can you mute Lance? Okay.
is not present today. Was this meeting properly notified?
Yes, it was. And as a reminder, it's being live streamed and recorded.
Okay. Welcome to visitors. Is there any public comment? No. All right. We are going to table the highlight on youth tonight and move it to a different meeting. Next up is comments by board members and superintendent. The first weeks of school update.
Yeah, we had a great August professional development week. Pretty special thing we were able to do was we had seven staff volunteer instead of a keynote. Had 7 staff volunteer to speak on the topic what I love about SCC, and it was really cool and a great way to start out the year and a good reminder of the amazing culture and staff and students we have here. It was a great opening day, and then like I said, a full week, 4 days of PD, and then the first days of school. The first 9 days were absolutely terrific. One comment I know we've heard a couple of years in a row now is the difference in the kindergarten students just having 4K on site and being in the routine. And you would think, well, what's the big deal? But it's a big deal. Kindergarten students that have spent, the previous year in the building and just hit the ground running. Sometimes literally. Yeah, those first 9 days were amazing.
I think it was one of the best PDs that I've been to. It was awesome to hear our teachers speak. Some of them are from here, some were not from here, or grew up, I should say. But it was the same kind of theme that I think Tim and I had as well, and none of us spoke to each other about what we were going to say, but it was the same thing. Everybody cares, gratitude, joy, just.
And then the last 3 days, really, it's heart-wrenching. But on the other side, heartwarming to see how our staff, our community, our surrounding schools, our surrounding communities have really rallied around us and Mindy's family, and that's pretty special to help get through this. So I want to recognize all the many, many people. This collective of individuals is amazing, here and beyond, our doors, and the outpouring of support is absolutely overwhelming, but very welcome. And, the challenge has been this, you know, like so many people want to buy lunch, so many, you know, it's like, so got lots of lunches for our staff the next few weeks. It's just one example. So I need to recognize this very special culture we have in the school and community family that we have here.
That's why we'll get through it, because we are a great community and great family. So we have each other. We'll move on to the 26th WSB State Convention, January 21st through 23rd. If you're interested, Callie needs to know certain dates.
The room bucks don't open until November 3rd, so we have a little bit of time to decide who wants to go. So start thinking about it.
And then we have Wisconsin School Board Appreciation Week, October 5th through the 11th. And that week, we also go into, the school board members go into the buildings and provide scone breakfast. And that is Wednesday, October 8th. And we need to pick the buildings. Who wants to go where?
I'm out. I'm in Louisville.
All right. That's your favorite, one of your favorite days.
That's both
When
days
will you
this
be
year.
back? We'll just get you some leftover scones.
There won't be leftovers.
I forgot to leave
Save
them
one
last
for it.
time.
All right, so you're out. How about you guys? Where would you like to go?
I'm in lacrosse for Tavern League all week.
You are too. All right.
I'm
so
sorry.
That's all right.
Week.
You-
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
What, usually around 7 a.m.?
7:15.
Lance?
I'll go middle school.
Middle school.
I'll go to the high school. And I think Brad was going to jump on, but we'll talk to him. We can go wherever.
Communicate about that.
Yep, I'll take care of that. And then we've got the Wasba Fall Regional Meeting, October 28th. If anyone's interested, you can let Callie know.
With the nominee one?
It's all the way in Eau Claire this year. And that was the one that was, I think we all went.
I think we all wish we would have kept it last year.
So maybe we were.
Lance is being recognized for,
Oh,
you know, level 1, which you earned through obviously participation in WSB events, but
probably that long, what was that down at the convention? Was that him or was
the
it?
delegate.
Yeah.
Delegates number.
Well, if we
All
had a
right,
reason
so
to go, I wouldn't mind going.
If you want to, what do you have to know by?
The deadline for that is October 24th. So how about at the next board meeting?
Okay.
And then although School Board Appreciation Week is October 5th through 11th, like last year, Sandy Food Service is going to provide a meal and dessert on our October school board meeting, which I think kind of maybe brings us to maybe the next point about some conflicts with upcoming board meetings. The October 4th, yeah, October 12th, sorry, board development date. You know, Brad had said he was going to not be able to make it in the past. I know the board has been pretty committed to having everyone here. So just, Erica wanted to just throw that out there.
Thought I said I wouldn't be around available for that.
Wouldn't be there on the 12th either.
Okay.
Not that, that's not important, but I do believe the Packers play that Sunday evening. I might even have to work.
And I think that's what
And
Brad.
I know Brad's not, he's going to
Okay.
be there as well.
So when do the Packers play on the 9th? Are they?
That's rather readily available. I just know with Dr. Lee that was that Sunday evening, I think.
Do you have any conflicts?
Usually don't on Sunday.
Well, maybe just plan on not meeting on the 12th, and then the board can communicate. Callie can send out maybe a survey for the availability of
Okay.
dates and include
Okay.
Dr. Kritzel as well in that. And then the other one Jen wanted to bring up is the October board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 15th. And at that meeting, October meeting, the board is supposed to approve and set the levy for the annual budget, which has to be sent in the state by the end of October. The 15th, there's usually, it's late in the day, early evening that we get a lot of the information needed for the budget, like state aid. So it's kind of a crux to be able to approve something without having all the numbers. So she was asking if we could push that date back to following week, October 22nd.
Would we move the board meeting to the 22nd?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that'd be
The
way
whole board
better for
meeting,
me.
just have one meeting instead of having to have a special meeting between 15th and the 31st.
Does that work for everyone?
Works for me.
Lance?
That should work for me.
Okay. 22nd. Okay, I think that takes care of all of our dates. Next up is scheduled presentations by guests and staff members. We've got summer projects update, and we've got building supervisor Nick Yoder. Welcome, Nick.
Afternoon. As far as summer projects go, there was not a whole lot of big capital projects. It was more, most of my time was used up working through a lot of the project, wrapping up the project from the referendum. Still working through some things with that, but mainly just standard sustaining, turn around the buildings, carpet repair, HVAC repair, smaller stuff. Little things that we could do, but no big major projects we had going on this summer. But things are going good with the project. Couple little things still hanging out there, but we're working with Mark and Jonathan to work through those. So.
Was the gym repaired in the elementary?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yep. So
it held?
we might have to do more repair next summer, but it is ready to play. Surface is smooth, ready to go. So
that whatever they did, like from
this,
that crack or whatever was leaking.
yep, the HVAC ductwork sweat is what happened.
No, I was thinking that the elementary school, when we were doing the referendum, there was like a crack.
Oh, that epoxy repair.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was done right before I came in. And
Okay.
yes, that's held up fine. We haven't had any water in that gym.
All right.
Any questions? Thank you.
All right, next
Well,
up.
yeah, one.
Oh,
What do you see coming up that needs to be repaired and what should be set aside budget wise? Last year you were talking about a pile of heaters on the roofs or
RT
AC
units
and
like that was the start of how to really start capital planning. So
Mhm.
we're not caught in this fiscal turnaround. So that was really carving out known issues that I could just put out there. But that can grow to many things, whether it's interior, exterior doors. I mean, you gotta think your commercial fire doors, $5,000, you know what I mean? We talk about a bank of doors. Right now, what I'm staring at is skylight issues. So with most of our skylights are probably blown molded injection. So they go over the curb, all one piece of material. And those are fine, but when you have glass, aluminum, expansion coefficient, you're constantly cutting and recocking. It's constantly moving. So struggling with skylight repairs right now. We have a leak in high school that 40 mil poly over the top just to prove, oh, it's not a curb issue. That's an actual skylight issue. I've gone through a couple different possible ways of repairing it. And
how many skylights do we have in the school?
the main skylight issues are going to be, we have one at the high school, the big one in the atrium of the middle school, And the big problem with that is that that does provide a ton of ambient lighting in that space. And then you have two smaller skylights at the middle school also that are like a laminate fiberglass material and aluminum framing that we're having issues with too. So you go up there, strip the caulk it up, but give it a few months, things move. It's a constant battle.
You don't want to hire a glazer company that's,
Like glazer, so I've talked to a few people. There's a material that I've used on roofing before that is spraying, but you end up in that same cycle of the materials moving, right? So as far as like reglazing, doing new glass, is that what you're proposing for?
no,
like
I'm just saying as far as sealants and caulk and just different products that,
yeah, like EDM, whether it's Volcom or working through everything. Yeah.
well, or yeah, maybe something even a little bit more commercial grade, like what you'd see on a stadium or, you know, on a commercial building, a large scale commercial building.
So I've used the spray material a ton for like stainless, for like steel roofing, but that it's the same type of thing. It gives you better coverage, but you're still dealing with expansion coefficient. At the end of the day, I think it's easiest solution is delete them, right? Your roofing material right over the top of them. And that's kind of the idea with the polys is prove out like this is not in the curb, it's in the skylight. We know what's going on. But the alternative is you're taking away that ambient light. And so just working through that process right now. After this week, I'll be able to say for sure it's not a curb issue, it's a skylight issue.
So if you did take them out, is it pretty easy to run electrical over there and hang a commercial grade light from that space?
Well, that would be tough. So it's like the high school where I polyed it, we could easily get away with it. In the middle school, I think we'd be looking at what is it going to cost to add lighting interior. And so this is like, this just popped up like the first week of school. And so getting a handle on it, polying up, proving out that we know it's actually a skylight, not the curb. We'll know after this week. And then after this week, it's how we're going to tackle the high school. And we'll get some different options of how we want to go about it. But how do we do it and do it right so we're not constantly circling back to the same issues?
So skylights are a big issue right now.
Just right now, because it popped up right that first week of school. So that's the first thing that popped in my head. Roofing issues. So I worked with Pioneer Roofing. We got a warranty claim approved through John Mansfield, who is a material manufacturer, Pioneer certified to do the work. But they only approved about $1,200 for work. Well, I picked Pioneer out and it's $2,000 per stop.
Yeah.
So fighting that fight with them, with Pioneer, and how do we get these issues rectified? Same issue, root causes, we're circling back around, right? What do we got to do differently to stop circling back around?
So our roofs are, I mean, not on the new edition or what was worked on the referendum, but are you talking middle school, high school with that?
Mainly the middle school.
And is it where it all ties together?
No, so I've never had built up asphalt roofs like this. I've never worked with them. Usually rubber, steel, whether it's rock or glue down. And so what I'm finding with this is that it is truly, it's like an asphalt road. It's constant expansion coefficient. Everything's moving, right? And so I have a hard time beating up on these guys that come out trying to fix this type of roof. I just don't know. I just know that we've brought the installer out who's certified to do the work and repair it, and it's not. And we're coming back and circling back to the same issues. Hence why I filed for the warranty claim. Next thing is fighting harder. Because Mansfield only gave us $1,200.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Just wondering what you foresaw coming, because if you don't have any money in that kitty, it's tough to draw it out of it.
Yeah. So hopefully we can get something there soon.
Thanks, Nick. All right. Next up is the SCC Ice Fishing Club, fourth grade teacher Peyton Dackel, high school social studies teacher Zach Trineri, and student Damian Indikevich. Welcome.
Thanks for having us. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it starts off. Are you running the size?
Yeah.
Can you next slide, please?
Yeah, just give me the cue each time when you're ready.
What do you want for a cue?
Next slide.
Whatever you want.
Dan, today you swamped.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so today I'm going to talk about the ice fishing club. I think that it would be a great addition to the high school. Here it shows a couple key points of what it really is and why could it benefit the school. I think some very key points would be how budget friendly it is for the school, how many options it could give to students that don't prefer sports, want something to do in the winter, want something to do with their friends, something that's super flexible, something they can take their parents along with, something they can get outside and say they did, something to try. Next slide. The WEEF organization. The WEEF organization is actually huge when it comes to high school ice fishing teams. This organization has been around for, I believe it's almost 100 years now. It's a huge organization actually with over 130 schools in it now. It offers scholarship opportunities for students. It offers funding for getting this team started in your school. It offers all kinds of deals for students. It's a great organization. They host the state tournament at the end of the year. If you want to learn more about it, you could click.
I can piggyback off of that too. I've been in contact with the president, vice president, super great people, very communicative, offering whatever you can do to try and get a team started. They're always looking for new people, different fundraising opportunities and different ways to get teams involved. But I've had nothing but great responses from them in the starting of trying to get a team started. So,
area teams. Actually, coincidentally, Osceola last year won the state tournament. I believe that they've won 3 out of the past 14 years. So New Richmond's another huge school. They started their team back in 2014. I've been in contact with their head coach off and on a little bit. Their head coach is phenomenal. He's done a lot for the team. He's done a lot for the school. But they're another great team. They've been at the state tournament multiple times. And then there's some other middle border schools in there. I figured that would be a little leeway to help us out.
thanks so much. That Prescott, Frederick, Prairie Farm, River Falls, Unity, Elk Mountain. There's a lot more surrounding areas, so it's such a growing sport for sure.
So here's a schedule that we found some events for off that website. So we're kind of thinking some 2 practices, 2 events. So the first practice will take place in my classroom. Get the kids in the classroom that are interested in joining, tell them all about it. Do some plans, like here's some weekend tournaments we're thinking of, some events. Then the second practice will take place on Sunday, January 18th. We'll just go out on the lake. We'll probably find an event to do, or just go out on the lake, have some fun and fish together. Then the first 2 events we'll do. The first one, the state qualifier. They haven't came with a date yet, so they're gonna be Saturday or Sunday on those. And then the second event will be regional tournament somewhere in the area, in the county nearby, on the 7th. And then the state tournament will be the 20th and 21st of February. And that's over in Lake Wausau and Halfland Lake, all those other lakes there.
Is it always, do you guys know if it's always in Wausau or do they go?
No, so last year was in lacrosse, so they change it. Regionally, rumor is it's gonna be in Chautauqua coming 2027. Not sure if that's true or not. But a lot of these tournaments, schools will host a tournament, but you don't necessarily have to go to their water to fish it. They have an app called the Fish Donkey app. So one of the coaches are responsible for the app. So we can go in a tournament and it might be the biggest 300 inches. So we can fish if we want to go to Cedar Lake, we can fish in that same tournament. It's all through an app where we take a picture with the measurement, and you take a picture of you holding the fish and you're in that tournament. So some of them you go to host lakes, but there's a lot of tournaments where people host it and it's just any lake that you want to fish. So
And it gives flexibility too of where to go, and especially on the weekend. You know, we're also kind of talking about some athletes that might be in winter sports. On the weekend on Sunday tournament, they can come along with us and ice fish too in those tournaments as well. So getting options to a lot of kids over the weekend to do.
and a lot of sports and things come with practice. This is one where we can go play. We can just try, see how we do. And we got a lot of good fishermen in the high school with a little experience. A couple hot honey holes for fishing. So
You talking about me?
I think we would be okay. But transportation, From our side of the end, we had a meeting with RJ, Mr. Belcher last month. We talked about different things and logistics of things. For transportation, we were looking at possibly an opportunity to use a school van and a trailer just so for some gear and also to transport some students. It works well with football games and other sports. We thought maybe for our club that could be a good opportunity. We sent out a survey and we put that in the Panther Nation Google Classroom for the high school. We got some responses on that of around 20-ish kids that would be interested and involved, and there's a lot more that talks at football practices and different things that they'd be interested in. Biggest thing we thought about was transportation, how that would work in the Google form. We listed, would you be okay with transporting yourself to the event or riding in the van or getting transported by an older student? And 100% of the responses were yes. So we just wanted to put those logistics together and kind of see what that would look like. We also said there'd always be an adult driving the vehicle, so coach myself or Chineri, and the vehicles would never go onto the ice. Those would stay off of the ice, and then we'd be able to walk onto the lake. Because I know that can be a little bit of a liability thing too if you bring a school van out onto the lake. So next slide, please. Startup, reoccurring costs. We are looking, if possible, to get around $1,500 to start this up. I've talked with local coaches in different places on what schooling has funded for them, and it's different variations, kind of taking a median there. We're looking to purchase one ice auger, some tip ups, some jig poles, baits for certain events, little payment for coaches, and possibly lodging for the state tournament. Different schools have done it differently. Some of them pay all the transportation, some of them get them a lump sum, some of them will pay lodging for a state tournament. But we're just looking for a startup cost for this year. We're looking around $1,500 to kind of establish ourselves. I've also applied for a grant through the WIFA. So they offer up to $500 for starting off a team, or if you want to do a project of some sort. So I've just, as soon as we get the go ahead, I can click the apply for that grant. So another $500 would be great just to get a team up and running with that. So that's what we're kind of looking for.
2 sponsors.
Okay. And Strikers emailed me a couple days ago about sponsoring our ice fishing club. We got started up. So you have some options there too.
There's a lot of great businesses in the area that I feel like would be willing to sponsor us. Next slide.
Then fundraising too. Our thoughts were if we were to start some sort of fundraising to try and bring in some sort of money, so maybe necessarily it wouldn't go on the school anymore. For one day we could just be our account where the school wouldn't have to donate as much money to it. If we get this thing rolling and going. Through the WIFA organization though, they offer a pretty good fundraiser where participating clubs take home 70% of the earnings. So I've been in contact with Ted too, if that's some route we wanted to go, not necessarily, it doesn't have to be. Like Damien was saying though, with donations and sponsorships of local businesses, it seems like a lot of people would want to give opportunities to students to go fishing and actually compete with it. A lot of times you can go fishing with mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa, but to actually compete and for some different prizes and things. Like I've seen my dad as a coach in Chautauqua for their ice fishing contest or their team, and they're giving away Vexilars at tournaments and ice augers and gear, and so it's some pretty cool stuff. And eventually where we could create some sort of event or some way to benefit our ice fishing team in the future would be a really cool thing. I think we could probably get the community behind that.
I think so too. Next slide. The cost for the league, it's actually super, I don't know the word.
Economical.
Yeah, that word. I don't even know what you said. It's actually super, I'm not going with that. All right, but the cost for the league, it's super
Economical.
Yeah, it's super economical. It's free to join the league. Actually, WIFA as a school, we can join the league for free. That's another great thing. There's no startup cost for the school as far as joining the league and going to tournaments. The main cost for any and all things would just be on the person themselves. If they wanted to have gear, our hope is that there's people with extra gear that can share. There's people that are willing to donate gear. There's people that are willing to go buy gear for someone. I mean, as far as fishing goes, you can start out really cheap. There's no need that you need all these fancy things, all these expensive things. Although they're nice, they're really nice. There's no price when it comes to fishing.
And that's why just the main cost wise would get some gear for those students who may not have that. Students who maybe have never fished would have an opportunity to come. We think that's a big thing when we want to start and get this thing rolling too.
That's the last slide.
Any questions though?
Like, what does a typical tournament look like? Like, is it, like you said, you mentioned inches, or they have different, northern or walleye or crop panfish categories, or how do you score and win?
Yeah, a lot of, it's kind of set on different depending on the tournament. I know one of them does just a biggest bass northern game fish one, then they'll do panfish one. A lot of them, it was the most you can get to 300 inches with the least amount of fish. So if you get more game fish, you're obviously gonna have a better chance of that. Like I said, it's all through that fish donkey, which is pretty crazy, the technology now where it's all together with that, if you want to bounce off that.
I mean, I could attest to that. I've actually been in a couple of the tournaments with a couple of buddies, not as a school organization, but we were able to enter tournaments on the app. Granted, if you make sure to turn the notifications off, it's very annoying. But it's pretty simple. You just got to catch the fish, and you got to take a picture a certain way and hold it a certain way and make sure you get all your measurements, and you're able to submit the photo, and you're already entered onto this leaderboard. And like most of the time, the tournament will run for the day. So you're not allowed to submit a fish like before 6 a.m. or after 6 p.m. And at the end of the day, at like 6 p.m., you find out who won.
I was gonna say a typical day is you meet there, kind of a rules meeting in the morning on the ice with whoever the hosting school is a lot of times if you're going to that one. Otherwise, it's a virtual one, and then they give you the go ahead, you come back, and then that's a lot of time where they give out the prizes of different sorts of things.
I don't know if you said it, but how many participants
And
can be on a team?
There's no
State tournament is 12.
and there's no maximum for the open given ones. But
Like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. typically is your window?
I would say like we leave at 6 a.m. A lot of the tournaments start at 8, so you can be everything ready to go. Depending on the whole school a lot of times. And a lot of the events right now, the dates are to be determined until they figure that out.
That app's pretty cool. Go by length versus weight, right? We've seen fishing tournaments where they cheat with lead weights and stuff. So that eliminates, and I assume then your picture's time stamped too.
Yeah.
That you caught it that
And
day.
it also has to be verified by someone before it enters the actual pool. Yeah, fish donkeys.
And then tonight, you're looking for just kind of more information, and you'll come back asking for official board approval, or are you asking for board approval tonight? What's kind of your timeline?
I'm asking for board approval.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to have board approval, so, because there's a lot more stepping stones to get through with the WIFA and different things in gear, because it's already even September, we're looking for.
Maybe we should just wait till next year.
I feel like timeline wise, it would be great to get it approved as soon as possible if the approval is in the cards. As far as timeline wise, if we can get this going and we're able to host fundraisers, obviously a fundraiser is going to take time to get things started and to find interest in other people.
And we just think of our own like logistics of like money wise and like the bank accounts, deal orders and things like that. I think that'd be important to take some time for that too. So,
I think a simple fundraiser asking for donations. Like a lot of people get behind it, get the 1,500 easy, or the board, the board's 1,500, and then whatever the community pitches in, or a lot of folks maybe have grandpa's ice fishing equipment that's been sitting in the attic, like donate it. I'm sure you're looking for like a electric ice auger, right? Those
Yeah.
batteries, like
right.
ion are the way to go. And you only need one.
Right. So trying to flood it, pull on it, flood it. Just
Yeah.
Greener holes and.
And drink.
Okay.
So,
Make a motion to do that.
yeah, let's make a motion.
Make a motion to approve the formation of an ice cream club.
Second.
Discussion. Dave made the motion, Derek second. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Opposed?
No, sorry, that was a
Okay.
tie. I might have just been delayed.
Just for clarity, what are you approving?
The $1,500 allowance for the team for the 2025-2026 season.
Yes. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Look forward to it.
I look forward to it. It'll be great.
Demo, you don't have to stay anymore. You can go,
Yeah, you
buddy.
can go.
We'll play softball.
Thank you. Yep, thanks, Damien. Okay, Summer school report, we're going to table that till a later date. But we will do the communications grant update with communications coordinator, Stacy.
This will not be as exciting. All right, so for the annual grant and communications report, we will start with the grant portion of it. Just kind of an update from previous years. Just always kind of try to throw a few things in there about current things that are going on. Overall, federal grant funding has been on a downward trend, which has made it a little bit more difficult. They estimate that nonprofits, 30% of nonprofits rely on most government grants, and that foundations would need to increase funding by 282% to make up for the loss. It makes people adapt to finding new strategies for finding the funding and relying on more state and local funds, and foundations were planning to increase their giving. Challenges continue to be that, you know, you have approval rates that differ by funder type. For nonprofits, you're looking at higher success rates with local and state in like the 25 to 50% range, but federal grants are around 10 to 20 right now. The 2024 giving barely kept up with inflation. They're relying on getting more clear data-driven results when you follow up on how you spent the dollars. And foundations are tending to go more towards DEI initiatives as the public and state sources roll back on them. All right, so these are a few that we tried for last year. We are still waiting to find out official word. And this is a big one, like this is the biggest one we tried for this last year. So not knowing for sure if we're getting that $71,000, it's kind of, it would be nice to get that. Also have not heard back on that Andrew one for a glue table and clamps and a clamp storage system at the high school.
Well, I've never known them to not award one.
Yeah.
They award one
So it's
quarterly.
kind of a little strange.
And just for everyone, MDR, what does MDR stand for? I don't remember. Chad is here.
Yeah, it's for Chad. It's something to do with how, like right now we have a company that is doing some cybersecurity stuff for us, and adding this would have somebody watching it 24 hours a day. And if something flagged on their end, they would contact Chad right away or something along those lines. I didn't fully understand it either. Then for some like arts grants, we did try the St. Croix Valley Foundation is pretty good about these music education grants. We did try to get it for some posture chairs at the high school and did not, but Miss Datas did get to get her ORF instruments at the elementary school, which she received $1,500 for that. And then these are a bunch that we tried for a Dollar General youth literacy grant to get some decodable books for the first grade classrooms. They had over 2,000 applicants for that one, so we did not receive it. We tried for a gifted and talented grant for the middle school for $10,000. They had limited funding and a large number of proposals, but did invite us to reapply next year. And then Wisconsin, and that's another, like, I had a couple of teachers reach out to me last year wanting these bouncy bands at the middle school, and now this year more of the teachers are. So this is going to be one that I'm focusing on this year to get more than that. Like, so all of the classrooms for, I believe it's 7th grade, get them.
What are bouncy bands?
They are a band that like wraps around the bottom of like of the legs, and then kids can, it's like a, they don't make noise or whatever, but get fidget like out.
I would love that if I was a teacher.
Keep your legs quiet.
Yeah. Alright. Next one, and so far, we have only received $1,500 from the last year, but we requested 95 and waiting on that large 71,000 one is, we're hoping that that one comes through. And then that just shows what we received last year and what we had requested, like the previous years. So our current grant focus for this year is going to be continuing, especially if we do not get that grant, continuing to look for security, cybersecurity things district-wide, staff wellness grants for district-wide. A lot of teachers want wiggle seats or some sort of flexible seating options in their classrooms, and that's pretty much at every school. For the high school, we're going to work on getting some updated woodshop equipment and possibly some Fab Lab additions. At the middle school, we're going to retry that gifted and talented grant. I've been working with Mr. Beasy on updating the 3D printers, the bouncy bands. The special ed had reached out about some sensory, if we could find something on sensory room updates, and then Keymaster keyboards. And then at the elementary school, I'm going to continue working with Ms. Heimbach on decodable books. All right, communications. So for the Virtual Academy, we continued with our digital advertising at the 35,000 impressions per month. You can see kind of how it will dip at certain times of the year, but then, you know, like over the summer, it kind of went up again. So fluctuations on the click-through rates, the conversions, things like that, for the digital advertising. And then the next slide, we also add paid social media marketing with the same company. 35,000 to 44,000 impressions per month, was $1,575. I think we are possibly looking at rethinking this one. Because if we do the next slide, well, this just kind of shows what our ads have looked like and kind of when we ran like different, like over the summer, we did a alt enrollment opens July 1st, and then after apply now for fall 2025. And I just had them switch back to that online education flexible schedule one now that we're into the school year. But now we are, this is it's called Over the Top, and they put our advertising. Is the video on?
Yeah, I see next. There it
Oh,
is.
there it is. I'm just like, there's a big
Yeah,
space.
and then the geographical target, I think, is important to note.
Yeah, so our primary target, we can target it down to adults 24 to 44 with a household income of 50,000 plus, and then as a secondary target, have it be households with kids that are age 5 to 18, and we're focusing in all of the counties around the Milwaukee area.
We're able to do that. It's not live TV, it's streaming through
Streaming.
the streaming services. So they are able to target the demographic that we're looking for.
So they just got this up and running on the 15th, and this is our ad that's going to be running.
St. Croix Virtual Academy offers an opportunity for students across Wisconsin who are looking for an alternative to the traditional brick-and-mortar school. We offer flexible online education with virtual online courses for grades 4K through 12. Our vision is to cultivate a flexible and supportive learning environment that empowers students to succeed in a dynamic world today and in the future. St. Croix Virtual Academy provides an equitable, innovative, and flexible education driven by compassion and a commitment to student success.
So being we are only running, like we're able to target in specific months that we want to do a higher number of impressions. Being we just started midway through the month, we're only gonna have like half of the 28,571 impressions. But then October through November will also continue at the lower, but then in January, we will go up to the higher and then back down February through April. And then we can take the summer off and come back in like August, September, when people are starting to look again for the next school year. And then this is just kind of an outline of what the last 3 years of what our enrollment has been on in September. And then this little map, Steph Posta provided, shows where our students are coming from this year. So that shows like why we're choosing that Milwaukee area. When you see that there's that big cluster down there around Milwaukee where our students are coming from. And then we have continued with getting the newsletters out quarterly. So we started that last spring. And so that's just the last few quarterly newsletters we've put out. And then our Google Analytics, we're continuing to grow with the amount of user activity that we have on our website. Those numbers are as of today. The next slide shows like some of our top Facebook posts over the last couple of months. And then our Facebook followers are currently at 4,123, which is 333 new since last year at this time. And we've had 24 new in the last 7 days. Our Instagram, which we didn't have until February 1st of 23, we're up to 615 followers as of today on that. And then showing where we rank according to what we're putting out with other middle border conference schools. We're still kind of in that Amory and Altoona are kind of above us as far as the number of people who like their page. So we're always kind of in that third area. Next slide. And then for the Virtual Academy's Facebook, we have 407 followers. We had 318 last year. We are going to try to, I put out a post on the district page on August 21st. And we got a lot more out of that because we found last year when we were putting out the graduate pictures that people didn't even realize there was a Virtual Academy one. So we're kind of trying to push getting more people, more of the Virtual Academy families to even know we have a Virtual Academy Facebook page. And then we just created an Instagram for the Virtual Academy to go with that paid social media marketing campaign. So we're going to start trying to grow that and getting some posts out on that to get a few followers on there, because that might be a good place for the actual students themselves to be out on. And then new this year, I've taken over. I'm going to probably at some point in time kind of redo the community ed newsletter to make it a little more eye-popping. And then I'm going to work with Amy Stevens to start a new social media student ambassador program. We're going to start with the yearbook students to try to have them. I can set them up with a moderated account on Skillshare, and they can actually put the post in, and I would have to approve it to make sure that it stays school friendly. So we're going to work on doing that together. Any questions?
Have we done just simple math based on how much we're spending in advertisement with how many new students we've pulled into the virtual school? You know, something rough like, you know, we got 10 new students and we spent 18 grand. It still makes sense.
Yeah, we haven't yet. Steph is tracking like when new students enroll, like how they heard about us. She's finding, you know, they don't always fill it out. So yeah, we're trying to get more data analytics on that return on investment as well. No, there's not even anecdotal. Like it's hard to tell. I think we've been struggling with this since it started. And then now with I think we should be able to tell a little better by where our students are coming from in that Milwaukee, Waukesha county area. Forget more Milwaukee students, that obviously their address is easily tracked.
And we haven't seen yet. He says he's gonna give us a weekly update on,
I get a report as well.
so we'll see what his looks like. Like maybe he'll have a little bit more of the information showing, and not necessarily that they actually sign up, but that they actually do
Yeah.
some sort of action.
And our strategy has just been kind of a, something is better than nothing,
No,
approach
for sure.
and
I mean,
shotgun. Like when we got, all like these things with the Google Analytics or Google advertising and then the digital marketing and social media marketing and now the streaming Milwaukee area marketing. So we talked about, let's really focus on those 3 and watch them. Probably going to pare it down to 2, but it's not a big capital. It's not a big expense, like for like I said, for most of these, one student pays for it for the year. Now with the new marketing in Milwaukee and the streaming TV, it's going to take 2 to pay for it for the year. But so that's not a big risk. But yeah, I do want to somehow try to get more
15
tight
grand,
data.
wasn't it?
What's that?
15 grand
For
the
the
year, 2, 4, 6, 3 months of 2 grand and 9 months of 1,000.
Yeah, and yeah,
So 3
we're at
students.
10,000 per open enrolled student. So
Because there's obviously some inherent value in just the brand, right? Continuing to push it out there, you get some recognition. But yeah, it would be good if we got to that point where we try. And I know some of the impressions and the click throughs, you don't always get, but just to try to take that extra step to at least, again, even at a high level, say we signed up 10 students, even if they're all from New Richmond, just to ensure that grows with the money you spend so that it's.
We did find it interesting that this guy from the CBS is in Milwaukee and he heard of us because he saw our Facebook ad.
Got it. Yeah, good.
Our biggest competitors are the Green Bay area for virtual or.
yeah, the Fox River Valley and even central Wisconsin and Merrill and Wausau.
I think I've seen Fox River Valley on like the WIA sports, like the state tournament. So I don't know if that's a spot that we could advertise on, but how many followers do they have? Do you know on their Facebook pages? Are we close to what they? The Fox Valley, like how? I'm curious.
Probably try to figure that out.
Rural Virtual Academy, RVA is one of the bigger ones now as well. Yeah, Steph is in contact with a lot of those and kind of, there's a lot of networking and what works for you and what doesn't. And although we're all kind of competing, we still find that the majority of our students, as you saw on the map, come from our area. And we're finding anecdotally word of mouth, this friend telling another friend. And then once we kind of got into Milwaukee a little bit, then it just seemed to grow more. And yeah, that's where they're coming from, but that's also where the most students are, concentrated as well. So it makes sense there. And where, how do I say this? Yeah. People are looking for other opportunities other than maybe public school there in Milwaukee.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Casey.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Good night.
See you guys Friday morning.
Oh, God.
Okay, we have financial reports next. Dave.
As of August 31st, 2025, our balance in a Citizen State Bank checking is $4,070,195.39. Our money market account is $12,292.87. Fund 46 is at $61.03. Suicide prevention is $5,403.71. That service account is $935.34. The referendum account is $60,920.04 for a total balance of $4,149,808.38.
Motion to approve.
Second. Derek made the motion, Lance second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next is consideration of the consent agenda. And there is no virtual courses to approve at this time. And we do need approval. Do you want to go over what the project search is?
Yeah, it's through the 630, agreement, like we've done and other things. But this one is focused on transition life skills for students with IEPs near graduation.
Okay. And we've done this with them before.
Correct. I believe last year was the first year that partnership.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Right.
Second.
Dave made the motion, Lance second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Administrative reports by Tim, student enrollment update.
This is just the first month-to-month enrollment report of the year. Again, as a reminder, it's not official. It's not our third Friday count, but it's a pretty good read on where we're at with enrollment. You'll notice September last year to this year, we're down about 40 students. And again, I think almost entirely attributed to the size of the classes we're bringing in 4K and kindergarten, now under 100. And we graduated a class of 140 last year. So it's pretty, I think, simple math and smaller classes coming in because of birth rates, like it was predicted in the last population study. And then speaking of that, we have initiated our next, we do one about every 3 years, and it's time for that. So Hazel Reinhardt is working on the next population and housing study. We'll be presenting that to the board in the next couple months when it's ready. And then, yeah, as usual, you'll see our open enrollment in and out, again, trending very positively, mostly attributed to our open enrollment in our virtual academy. You can see there, we are trending upwards of where we were at last year with our virtual academy, 239 students this September as compared to 209 completely open enrolled in virtual last year. So those are good trends, and we'll obviously monitor this and report it each month.
Thanks, Tim. The key work of our school board, Lance?
So thank you to Andrea Fellberg, Stacy Paschke, Alicia Kurg, and Amy Bohada. Thank you for all the work on the school backpack program. The amount of care and compassion you put into this project is truly nothing short of amazing. The SCC community is so fortunate to be able to benefit from all of your hard work. Ladies, you are very appreciated. And then Kara Daditz. Zadez, thank you. Congratulations on your most recent announcement of being named president of the Minnesota ORF chapter. Awesome. This is very well deserved. I can't read, so you're welcome.
We could tell. He was a really good athlete, though.
Thanks, Lance. Core agenda items, consideration of approval of second reading of board policy 532.2 staff holidays. We need a motion on that. The other one is just a first reading.
I'll move to approve core agenda item A.
Second.
Lance made the motion and Dave second. Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Then that's
Under 13B, just a little context, working with WASB and Barry Forbes and the policy resource guide, we've, focused on policies and board policies, but through, some things that transpired this summer, he started asking questions. Well, what does your 411 rule say, or whatever, when we do it, we're doing an investigation, for example, regarding a complaint, the formal complaint and the investigation, and he says, well, you really should be adopting these rules. So at his advice, or legal advice, we now are going to go through the policy resource guide and start adopting, presenting the rules to the school board. There are certain ones that just are very practical. So the rules are a close cousin to policies. play off each other. So that's the next step. You'll start to see the rules come through. We started with this one because that's the one I said should have.
How do they distinguish between their recommended policies and rules? What's the difference?
Yeah, the rules are more the drilled down procedures, more detailed.
Okay.
Like, will include forms, and, kind of like our objectional reading materials form, was kind of an example. And then these ones, are more detailed with processes versus policies are more generally written so that every time somebody changes a position or you change a resource, you don't have to change the policy.
Yeah.
Possible future agenda items. And now we will review the upcoming dates that are important. October 8th is Board Appreciation and Staff Breakfast starting at 7:15 in each building. We've got Eric at the high school, Lance middle school, Dave elementary school, Webster, and Jeff. And then we need to reschedule the board development meeting. Kelly's gonna send out a survey with us and Lee and Tim. Looking at probably Sunday, late afternoon again. The October 15th board meeting was rescheduled to October 22nd. So Jen can get the information ready for the levy. And October 28th is the Wasville Fall Regional Meeting in Eau Claire, and we'll lock that down at the next meeting if anyone wants to go.
It's the 22nd. Right.
So that brings us to convene to close session. Motion.
Make a motion to, Dave, per Wisconsin statute 19.85, 1C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. 1, approval of resignations, retirements, and terminations. 2, approval of appointments and contract modifications.
Second.
Eric made the motion. Second. Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Time is 8:05. Ready for that, Jim? Head coach.